Welcome to the TakingVegas.com podcast. It is the last day of September, Friday, September 30th. Good to be with everyone. I am Chris Hodge. We got some major game action. Obviously, we'll speak about what happened last night, as if that hasn't been talking about enough. But guys, look, the most important things when it comes to this world, that's winning at sports gambling. And that's what we're here to do. Big night for us last night. We hit with Cincinnati. That was the free pick for everyone that visit TakingVegas.com. Again, I am Chris Hodge. Be with you here for the next 20 to 25 minutes. Got some game breakdown. Again, if you're listening to the Sports Investors Daily radio show on Saturday or Sunday, you can come right here to the podcast, TakingVegas.com, and we got some game breakdowns for you. Let's speak about last night real quick before we get into it. It's been spoken about a lot. Obviously, sad situation with Tua. You never want to see an injury. That's terrible. And the injury is made worse because of what happened last week against Buffalo that everyone saw. He was stumbling around. He goes back in the game. Doesn't look good. They win the game, but then they're on short days of rest. They come back on Thursday, and they play a very good Cincinnati team. And that was a rough situation. That was rough to watch last night. Obviously, everyone saw the video of his hands seizing up. And look, let's be fair. There's going to be questions asked. They're not going to be good questions. They're going to be bad questions. It was a national television game. It was a big game. The Super Bowl representative was in it. A team that's undefeated was in it. It was a big game last night. Everyone was watching it. And that's what happened. And that is a bad look for the NFL. That's as bad a look as you could possibly get for a national televised game. So, speedy recovery to Tua. But here's the thing, and again, before I get to the free picks for tonight, the game breakdowns for Saturday and Sunday, this is the NFL. No one's going to tell the truth. They're all going to lie. Miami was actually dumb enough to say last week it was a spinal injury when the whole world saw it was a concussion. I'm not a doctor, not a neurologist, but I'm not blind. Guy was stumbling around. And you have the audacity to come out and say it was a spinal injury, which, by the way, that's still dangerous. When the hell did a spinal injury become not dangerous? And then you put the poor guy out there 4 days later. And that's what happens. Very unfortunate. But a problem the NFL is going to have to deal with. So, again, that's been spoken about all morning long. It's going to be spoken about all season long. And wish Tua a speedy recovery. Let's get to what's going on here for Friday. Again, if you happen to be listening to this on Saturday and Sunday, we drop the podcast every Friday around 5 o'clock Eastern time. And we have some free picks for tonight at 888-9. Win now. That's 888-994-6669. There's a good amount of college football games on Friday going off. It's a pretty big board, actually, and a good game in the Pac-12 between Washington and UCLA. Both teams obviously playing very well. Both teams come in at 4-0. We got a good game between San Diego State and Boise State. Tulane and Houston, UTSA, Middle Tennessee. And New Mexico, UNLV, which no one really cares about. If there was no point spread, no one would look at it. But for a couple free picks on those games, plus there's a free pick write-up at TakingVegas.com between UTSA and Middle Tennessee. You can give us a call at 888-9-WIN now. That's 888-994-6669. Get the free picks on the hotline. Plus, you could find out how we treat sports wagering as a business with our initial investment program. That is designed to make 6 times your initial wager, only risking it twice. So that's our business program, and the people who treat sports wagering like a business, they tend to have success. The people who don't, they tend to not have success. So there's certain ways you have to look at it to do it the right way. So tonight, Friday, is a good night. Again, Washington and UCLA, nice matchup there in the Pac-12. And right at TakingVegas.com, you can get that for free along with a free pick write-up between UTSA and Middle Tennessee. Let's get to tomorrow. Again, if you're listening to the Sports Investors Daily radio show, you heard about 3 picks. Texas Tech, Kansas State, California, Washington State, Georgia Tech, and Pittsburgh. Okay? Anyone who calls 888-9-WIN NOW gets those picks for free. I'll give you a quick breakdown with Texas Tech and K-State. Both teams come in at 3-1. K-State around -7.5. They are the 25th ranked team in the country. Total 57.5. Well, I'll tell you, man, K-State, there's a weird team for you. 2 weeks ago, they lose to Tulane. Usually you get thrown out of college football for losing to Tulane. Like, Tulane, that's Tulane. I'm not trying to offend anyone down there, but it is what it is. They lose 17-10 at home, and then they come back the following week and beat Oklahoma on the road by 7. So there's a team that is hard to figure out because what team shows up? The team that played Tulane or the team that beat Oklahoma? They got Adrian Martinez as their quarterback now. Almost everyone out there has to be familiar with Adrian Martinez. I feel like he's been a quarterback since the Obama administration. He's been around forever. Quarterback at Nebraska. This is his 5th year. He's a super senior, they call that. They just make up names to keep people eligible. Throwing the ball has never been his strength. He's a good runner, though. And he's got 298 rushing yards this year, 6 TDs. K-State has won 6 straight in the series, including a great game last year, 25-24. Tech comes in off an impressive win against Texas, 37-34 in overtime. In fact, both of their wins against good teams, because they beat Houston and they beat Texas last week, came in overtime. They did lose their only road game to NC State, which was 27-14. So when you look at Tech, they're playing their second road game. Their first road game didn't go well, but it's a high point spread. And again, I said it earlier, what team shows up? Okay, the team against Tulane or the team against Oklahoma? That's the difference. That's what you got to try to figure out. We have that game for free on the hotline at 888-9-WIN NOW. That's 888-994-6669. Going to give you a free pick. This game's for Saturday. College football. Georgia, Missouri. Let's go over 55. The last 5 times Georgia has seen Missouri, they've averaged 43 points a game. Georgia has not played an over this year. So, hey, Chris, what are you doing? You're kind of bucking the trend there. Yeah, we are. Because I feel like Georgia's going to put up over 50 on Missouri. But Missouri could get a couple late touchdowns. Obviously, 29-point spread. You don't need us to give you, 29, 30 point. I always love that in baseball. Hey, man, yeah, we got this, we got that. Go with DeGrom at -400. Yeah, great. Thanks a lot. Like, that works. So not going to come on and waste your time with a 29-point favorite. You guys don't need us to do that. But the over looks like a good bet there, so we'll give that out for free. Another pick, if you're listening to the Sports Investor Daily Radio Show, Saturdays and Sundays, California, Washington State. Nice game here in the Pac-12. Both teams come in 3-1. Washington State -4, total 53.5. Oh, boy, another tough loss, man. Washington State, that was a crazy game. Now, we weren't on it either which way last week, but Washington State went from winning the game quite easily to not covering the game due to the pick 6 with about a minute left to covering the game with a second left. They lose the game 44-41 in a game they were covering the entire game until the pick 6 with about a minute left. So they lose a tough one there. They do have an impressive victory on their ledger. Listen, Wisconsin might be in the middle of a down year, and it very well may be. But when you go to Wisconsin and you win, especially when you're from the Pac-12. And again, I know. Everyone on the West Coast, I know. Chris, here we go. You're always making fun of the Pac-12. You guys suck. That's why I make fun of you. You're just a conference that's out there that no one pays attention to if there wasn't gambling. That's the only reason why people pay attention. No one in the world on the East Coast would stay up to 10:30 to watch Washington play UCLA unless there was a point spread on it. That's it. No other reason. And no one sure as hell ain't watching California play Washington State. Ever. But because there's a point spread, people will watch it. And because there's a point spread, people like me will break the game down. That's just being fair. Good win against Washington. Good win for Washington State against Wisconsin, 17-14. Their quarterback Cameron Ward, 10 TDs, 5 interceptions this year. He's not a running threat, nor is the kid from California, Jack Plummer. He's thrown 8 TDs, 2 interceptions. Both of these guys are not running quarterbacks, which is very rare for today's day and age. Cal, again, 3-1, and their one loss comes against Notre Dame in a game they could have won. In a game they were winning. In a game they almost pulled out with a Hail Mary. But then they come back last week. They kill Arizona. I forget Arizona. They suck too. But 49-31 last week. But last in this series, the home team is 5-1 in the last 6. So that's something to pay attention to. And again, this game is for free at 888-9-WIN-NOW. 888-994-6669. Over to Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh. And obviously, it's a big point spread. Pittsburgh's minus 22. Georgia Tech total is 49. Georgia Tech in at 1-3. Pittsburgh is 3-1. Georgia Tech, I tell you, man, they in their last 2 games, they've scored 10 points. If you look at the Power 5 schools they've played, they've been outscored 110-20. The Power 5 schools, by the way, UCF, Ole Miss, and Clemson. Okay, Clemson's a good team. Okay, Ole Miss is a good team. UCF? Can't even score against them? Very weird. 110-20. The only win on their ledger, Western Carolina, no one cares. Okay? Jeff Sims, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They literally have no running game. Dante Smith is their best running back. He has less than 200 yards in 4 games this year. Obviously, Pittsburgh is a good football team. Keaton Slovis, quarterback there. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception on the year. Not great, but a good, experienced quarterback. Their only loss has come against Tennessee, which is in overtime. Tennessee has proven to be a pretty good football team. And in the series, Pitt has won 4 straight, including last year's win by 31 points. They won 52-21. So, again, free. Those are the Saturday picks at 888-9-WIN-NOW, 888-994-6669. And, again, if you're listening to Sports Investors Daily, if you're at the website, look, I want to tell you about TakingVegas.com. We are trying to make this website the premier source for when it comes to sports wagering and information. You can get live odds, scores and matchups, free picks, free pick articles, free pick videos, the whole 9 yards. You can get involved with our daily promo, which is just $199 for 7 days. You're going to see us all over the country. We're all over the radio, all over the airwaves, doing videos. And I've been doing radio shows since 2006. So this is my 17th season doing radio. And got to be doing something right. Because if you're on radio for that long, got to be doing something right. Let's go over to the NFL. Again, obviously, unfortunate situation last night. No one likes to see that. Cincinnati was pretty much left for dead. Let's speak about the game. They get off to an 0-2 start. Did not look good against Dallas. They get healthy against the Jets. They win that game quite easily. And look, are they going to win that game last night if Tua doesn't get hurt? You know what? We used them. I thought they were the better team, but they were down 15-14 at one point before they scored the final 13 points of the game. So it was a free pick winner for us, and we're never going to apologize for a free pick winner. That's what we're here to do. 3 picks that are going to be for free for the weekend are going to be LA Chargers and Houston, Washington and Dallas, Arizona and Carolina. Whoa, man, the Chargers. Wow. Look, here's the deal. Again, sometimes you come on these podcasts and these videos and these radio shows and, you say stuff that pisses people off, and it is what it is. Anytime you lose 38-10 to Jacksonville at home, people ask questions. It just is what it is. You lose a game by 28 points to Jacksonville. I don't care that Jacksonville's improved. I don't care. The LA Chargers were Super Bowl contenders at the start of the season. You just lost by 4 touchdowns to Jacksonville, a team that never perennially cannot get out of their own way. Lose the game by 3. It still sucks, but no one's asking questions. They lost by 28. Now they go play Houston. Look, Houston as the 0-2-1. They're playing hard for Lovie Smith, but they're not winning games. But they've been in every game. Obviously, they had a chance to win week 1 against the Colts. They don't win. Tied a game. Okay. Had a chance to win week 2 against Denver. They don't win. Covered the spread, though. Had a chance to win last week. Had every opportunity in the world to win last week against Chicago. Screw that up. Don't win that game. So they're right there. They're right there. And again, just like I said about Kansas State, what Chargers team shows up? The Chargers team that we all thought was going to be really good, or the Chargers team that just played Jacksonville last week? But I will say this, and you guys can go check the airwaves, check whatever you want. I have said this since the jump of this season. Since I came back in the middle of August, and I started doing radio shows all throughout the country. I said it. I do not like the Chargers head coach. I think they will lose games because of him. I'm not sold on that dude. And at the end of the day, I don't think he's a good coach. So you want to lay 6 with the Chargers? You want to go with Houston? Tough call. We have that game for free. 888-9. Win now. 888-994-6669. Next on the docket, Washington and Dallas. Dare I say, quarterback controversy. Oh, there's a quarterback controversy. Listen, they're going to go out and say all the right things. They're going to say the right things because what I say about Tua 12 minutes ago, they lie. It's what they do. They're not telling you the truth. They're going to lie. Oh, Dak Prescott's our quarterback. We paid him all this money. There's no quarterback controversy. When he comes back, he's the quarterback. My rear end. Dallas keeps winning. It's going to be hard to take that job away from him. And him is Cooper Rush. I don't care how they win. They keep winning. That's going to be hard. You guys disagree? You disagree. But look, Dallas went on a roll. We used Dallas big last week because the Giants are not what people think they were. 2-0 going into the Dallas game, fine. Stupid line. Was never that. Dallas was always the better team. The Giants should have never been favored. They should have never opened at 3. They should have never closed at 1. They were never the better team. So Dallas beats the Giants last week. They turned their season around off the week 1 loss to Tampa Bay. They beat Cincinnati. They beat the Giants. Now they're home against Washington, who was 1-2, who is off a 24-8 loss against Philadelphia in a game they were never in. And it's Washington being Washington. But still, it's a weird line. It's a weird line. Dallas minus 3.5. And it opened at 1.5. Tricky, sneaky little line. So be careful of that one. We'll have that one for free too at 888-9 win now. And then we go over to Arizona and Carolina. Again, 2 teams. You got to be careful in the NFL because you run into teams, right, that you just don't know what they're made of. And that continues the whole year. And Arizona and Carolina, you think they could be good. You think they might be bad. Each week, like, Arizona, what team? The team that played the second half against Las Vegas? Yeah, that's not bad. Or the team that played the whole game last week against the Rams? That was bad. Carolina couldn't get out of their own way against the Giants in week 2. Come back with a nice victory over the Saints in week 3. Both teams 1-2. When we give out the free picks, we pick the games that we feel is going to be the hardest for the public to come up with because we want to help you. So that free pick is available at 888-994-6669. I will give you another free pick, and then I'm going to give you something in college football before we call it a day here with the Taking Vegas podcast here for Friday. Under Washington and Dallas, we are on the side if you call the hotline. But for the free pick here, we're going to go with under Washington and Dallas. So gave you 2 free picks. Gave you the over Georgia, Missouri for Saturday. Give you the under Washington, Dallas for Sunday. We have UTSA and Middle Tennessee written up at the website. And if you can go click on that, we also have Oregon State and Utah written up at the website. Those are completely free picks. You can also get Washington and UCLA for free as well at the website. Here's one for college football. And then we will part our merry ways for Friday. Navy is playing Air Force. The last 25 games between the service academies. So when Navy plays Army, Army plays Air Force, Navy plays Air Force, just whatever. The last 25 times that has happened, the under is 22-2-1. Food for thought. Food for thought. 22-2-1 is the under. That's a pretty strong thing right there. It's a pretty strong trend. Now, when I do the radio show, with a couple guys. Bobby Ventura is great. I've been doing it since 2006 with him. I'm on with Tony Powers as well, Gene Daly. But Bobby Ventura says this all the time. And it's funny. It's not often we do the radio show. We're in the same studio. A lot of times he's in Vegas. I'm located on the East Coast, and he's plugged in. But, maybe like 6 or 7 times a football season. So out of 1/3 of the weeks we do the show, he's in the studio with me. And whenever I bring up stats, he just looks at me. He shakes his head, he rolls his eyes, and he'll cut me off and go, Chris, you show me a guy that gives me stats and trends, I'll show you a guy who constantly pays his bookmaker. And I always laugh at that. I always think it's funny. But listen, 22-2-1 is a powerful trend to note. So if you didn't know that, that's the trend. Look, we also have a 2-team parlay lined up for Saturday. You will hear about that on the Sports Investors Daily Radio Show. Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, and Baylor. We have those two. Again, phone number to call is 888-9-WIN-NOW, 888-994-6669. And a couple other stats for the NFL, including last night's game. The under is now 30-18-1. So for all that high scoring, for all that, hey, the offenses opened up, the defenses are behind. Didn't work that way through the first 3 weeks in one game. 30-18-1 is the record for the under after last night's game stays under. And that's going to wrap up this podcast here for Friday. Any questions, feel free to email me, chris@takingvegas.com. I always answer. Might not answer day of, but I will get back to you eventually. And for the free picks on the recorded hotline, 888-994-6669. Broke down these games that we're talking about on the radio show. Gave you a couple free picks. There's a big Friday night planned. Let's make some money. Last week was a great week. We used Texas A&M on the money line. Okay. We caught a break. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than be good. We caught a break. It is what it is. All right? Then we come back with Philadelphia. No break needed. No break needed. Blowout. Easy. So, guys, that's going to be the Friday edition of Taking Vegas podcast. Check out Sports Investors Daily on Saturday and Sunday. Enjoy Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Win some money. And we'll catch you back here Monday on the Taking Vegas podcast for the weekend recap. Have a great weekend, everyone.